I remember VCR tapes. I remember Blockbuster Video. I used to MacGyver my way out of problems. You guys remember, anybody remember MacGyver? I survived Y2K. Rollerblades. Is that still a thing? When did I get old? I'm in my 40s, and I don't feel like I am in my 40s. Like, there's all of these fitness trends and things like that for guys who are over 40. There's these supplements for guys who are over 40. There's endless Viagra supplements, or I don't know if there's supplements or it's just endless Viagra for guys over 40. There's all of these things that are like for guys over 40 because apparently I'm incredibly old. I don't feel old. Are you in your 40s? How old are you? You tell me. This vlog is gonna be interesting because I don't feel old. Now, do I understand the difference between a traditional and a Roth IRA? Of course. You know, can I remember the day before Facebook? Yes. So the reason I'm starting this blog is actually I ran into Derek Lunsford at the gym. Yes, that Derek Lunsford, the only person to ever win the Mr. Olympia 212 division and then go on the very next year to win the Open. Derek Lunsford is an amazing bodybuilder. He's got an incredible physique, and I happened to be the first person, according to him, he said that I was the first person that he told that he was going to be a bodybuilder. And I remember Derek Lunsford, actually he took a class of mine when I was a professor, when I used to be a college professor. And I remember just lifting weights with him all the time at the gym at the university. Nicest guy in the world. Like literally, I can't believe how nice the guy is. And I bumped into him over Christmas break. I was visiting family. He was visiting family. We went back to the same hometown. And I was like, man, you have gotten huge. You are enormous. And it got me thinking, he's like, man, have you ever thought, you're looking great. Have you ever thought of doing anything? And I was like, well, now that you mentioned it, I've always thought of doing something. I've just never done it. Like here I am, I'm 44 years old. I didn't really start getting healthy until I was 30. Like up until 30, I smoked, I drank, I did all sorts of terrible things. I was a drug addict. I was the opposite of healthy. At around 30 years old is when I started exercising, started weight training, started eating better, and it's been a progression. Now I am a health and wellness coach, right? So I don't really train bodybuilders or things like that. I'm more into mindset training. But I was talking to him, I was like, man, why didn't I ever attempt? Why didn't I ever do it? Now, I don't want to get into, maybe I do. Maybe deep down, I want to get into the man panties. You know the man panties. You've seen the man, you see these enormous dudes and then they have the, you know, the bikini bottoms on. You know, now, I guess if I were as huge as Derek Lunsford, maybe it would be less weird for me. Maybe it's just an American thing. I don't know. I just never wanted to do that. But why didn't I ever do some kind of a contest? Why didn't I ever push myself to see what I could achieve? You know, I always think about Socrates, and he bemoans, you know, there's a passage where he bemoans the fate of men who never see what they're actually physically capable of. I was an English professor. I'm into philosophy. I'm into research and rhetoric. And that's the sort of thing that I'm going to be bringing with this channel. That, and we're going to reminisce a little bit about the 90s and the early 2000s. Guys, I mean, come on. We got to be in this together. And if you're not in the age group that I'm in, you can hang out with us. You know, you can make the dad jokes too. There will be dad jokes. But this is all about reaching a goal. I honestly would like to try to get into a physique competition. Now, the problem with that is that apparently there's really no hope if you're over the age of 40. The first reason I should just give up and not try is that men over 40 reduce their testosterone every single year naturally. This is true. According to research, most men over 40 lose about 1% or 2% of their overall testosterone every single year. I am 44, so that's between 4 and 8% of my testosterone reduced. Now, this is something that I am going to track as we do this vlog. I've already tracked it since I was 35. I've always wanted to make sure that I'm healthy. I want those mindset benefits. I've always wanted to maintain more muscle. It's just that I've never really done what it takes to get those goals that I want. That's the goal of this vlog. I want to take you on this journey with me. But one of the things we have to think about as men in our 40s or our elder years is the fact that the primary driver of muscle synthesis is testosterone, and it's something we're working against time. So the longer we wait, so the fact that I waited this long really works against me for all of the reasons why testosterone helps us. Lower testosterone means that it's going to be easier to gain fat and it will be harder to gain muscle. This is a challenge that, hey, I'm going to tackle. I don't feel old. I don't feel it, except for some mornings, okay, and some evenings or afternoons. But I don't feel old right now. So let's get into this. As we go, I'm gonna continue to test my testosterone. Let me give you an idea of where I am. I have tested since I was 35. When I was 35, I came in at a whopping 350. That's very low. That's on the low end of normal. That's almost where they start to give you TRT. That was when I was 35, okay? And what I did at that point, I started to prioritize relaxing. So at the time, I did a lot of Wim Hof method. You might be familiar with this. I used to work with Wim Hof. I did a lot of stuff with ice baths and things like that. And while I still do ice bathing and my primary focus, my career is in breath work, I realized that particular modality was actually stressing me out more. I went in there thinking it was going to improve my testosterone. It actually was reducing it. And so I changed how I used breath work from that point on, focusing on more things that are going to relax me. And by the time I was 40, my testosterone had gone from 350 all the way up to 525. That was a nice jump. I got that phone call in the gym. I was doing deadlifts and I was like, yeah, I think I did a PR that day. And then I started taking some other supplements. We'll have a whole series of supplements videos, but I started taking one that I'll even link it down below. It's called NMN. It's for mitochondrial health. It's like an anti-aging thing. And that boosted me all the way up. Right now, the last time I had my testosterone checked, I'm just a little bit under 700 for my total testosterone. That's pretty awesome for a guy who's 44. Now, having said that, I've tested it in the morning and I've tested it in the evening. In the morning, we're talking about that higher number, that almost 700. In the evening, it's all the way back down to the mid 300s. So the fluctuation in testosterone is something I'm going to be working on, and I'm going to be testing, and I'll be sharing with you. I still don't have the physique that I'd like to have. I still don't look like these people. Now, the pro bodybuilders are obviously using performance enhancing drugs. And part of me knows that. Part of me looks at Arnold and whenever he was in his prime and says, that is not a realistic goal. But there's another part of me, and maybe that's the part of you that's watching this now, that says, why not? Let's try at least. Let's get as close as we can to that goal. So on this channel, we're gonna be talking a lot about testosterone optimization. I'm gonna try to get experts on, but if nothing else, I'm going to take you through all the processes that I'm going through myself, and I'll give you an idea of maybe what works and what doesn't. Another reason why we should just give up, I guess, before we even start is this thing called sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss. Now, this is something that tends to happen after we even turn 30. So here I am 44, so I guess I'm way deep. Apparently it accelerates when you're 60, but it increases each year after you're 30 years old. The primary reason, of course, there's the testosterone, there's other reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is the reduction in protein synthesis. Just the fact that it's more difficult for us to utilize the protein that we're taking in. So a younger person can do like 20 grams of protein, but the older guy, this guy, I guess right here, I have to do 40 grams or something much higher to get the same overall anabolic effect as a younger person. And one thing I do admit, it's that digestion is a thing. I mean, am I the only guy? You know, it's a thing, right? How much protein can you eat per meal? And from what I understand, the older you get, the more protein you should have per meal in order to get the same anabolic trigger. So having, you know, these giant meals, like it really hits you. It hits you on that digestion level, right? So how are we gonna get around that? That's something I'm gonna try to do on this channel. I'm gonna try to work on that because I am 6'1". I weigh around 215 pounds, 220 pounds, somewhere around there. The old wisdom was you're supposed to have 1 gram, or it was 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of muscle mass. So you're supposed to get about 1 gram per pound in order to stay in that anabolic threshold. As long as you're in a caloric surplus, you're supposed to have that 1 gram per pound, and that was the thing that was supposed to make it so that you were going to gain more muscle mass. And it seems as though at my senior age, I will have to ingest maybe double that. That is a lot of protein, right? And I don't know if it's age related, but yeah, I mean, there is a certain degree of like, hey man, don't mess with the digestion. I got a good thing going. I've got my morning constitutional. Do not mess with that. Then I'm feeling fresh the rest of the day. I don't want to be on a toilet all day long, right? So we've got to figure out a way to get around that. Another thing is I also have a family and we tend to eat together. So if I'm over here just like every single meal I'm just gorging on protein rich foods and I'm just constantly doing that, like there is an issue there. So how do I do the dad thing, and how do I get the meals? How do I do all that together? I've never actually done this seriously, so it'll be fun to go through this with you. And that brings up another thing. Because I am a dad, because I'm married, because I have all these responsibilities, I have a career and all these other things, it leads to the thing that most guys suffer from, and that's, I just don't have time for my workouts. It seems as though, and this sucks, guys. I have to say this probably is the part that sucks the most. It seems as though when you're over 40, you have to do more volume of work to get the same benefit, so the same muscle growth as you would have had to do when you were younger. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my gym time. I really do. But I have a son who needs to go to swim lessons or chess class. I've got to pick him up, I've got to drop him off. I've got a wife who also expects to see me now and then, and who, you know, there are so many things like this career that I have, like my job, all those things add up. And so what I'm finding myself doing, and you can let me know how you get around this, I find that, hey, I'm trying to squeeze workouts in everywhere I can, but I don't get those 2-hour workouts every single day like I would like to have, and like I think I need to have if I really want to compete. So this is a major thing. So time management just in general, because I'm willing to do the workouts. I actually like doing the workouts. It's just the fact that when you're a father and you actually like your family and you actually like being around your family and you want to be a part of their lives, you make sacrifices, okay? And we're gonna talk about that on this channel too. You make sacrifices that you otherwise wouldn't do. And when you're bodybuilding, when you're competing, when you're a competitive athlete, a lot of times you're making sacrifices on the other end. You're sacrificing family life. You're sacrificing a lot of that time that I don't want to have to sacrifice in order to achieve this goal, but I want the goal too. So how do you get around it? Do you have any suggestions? We're gonna explore that on this channel. And then the last part is, I've had about 14 years of weight training, and I've developed an insane amount of muscle imbalances. Like, I've built some muscle over the years, I've had injuries, I've worked through those injuries, but the reality is I've never had a coach, I've never had any real guidance other than books, YouTube videos, and things like that. I'm gonna try to seek some help, but one of the biggest things I know that I need to overcome is my muscle imbalances. Take a look at, this is what I look like now. And you know, some people might say, hey, great, you've got some size, you've got some mass. I've been accused of using steroids before. I really am, thank you. Thank you. Please accuse me of doing steroids. Those of you who are really into fitness are probably tearing me up. You're saying, wow, what an ugly dad bod. You know, I don't care. That's the whole point of this. I want to take us together. Let's go together. So if this is something you're interested in, if you want to take and just follow my journey, please like, please subscribe, please send help. Please send your thoughts and prayers, or also 90s song recommendations. I'm looking for a good set list, a good playlist in the gym. I listened to a lot of Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Rage Against the Machine. What does your set list look like? And what are some new, you know, I often talk about, I listen to classic like 90s music, or I listen to metal, or I listen to Viking music, or I listen to Viking metal. You know, it's metal, Viking, or Viking metal. Those are my favorite kinds of music to listen to. What's your playlist? Put it below. Let's do this together, and I'll see you next week. My name is Jesse. I'm in my 40s, and I'm on a mission to lengthen my lifespan while getting jacked. This is my channel.